Undertale is, well, honestly, it feels a little unfair to define it as just a turn-based RPG. I also think it falls short to say it's simply the story of a child facing monsters on their way back home. Some call it a masterpiece, the indie that changed everything, with some of the best written characters of all time. And even then, I think it's more than that. I'm not going to lie, I really wasn't sure whether to make this video or not. There are already thousands of amazing fan analyses and creations that have kept this game alive for over 10 years, fighting against obscurity and an algorithm that rewards only the new stuff, rage baits, and whatever this is. It feels like everything that can be said about Undertale has already been said, with really interesting perspectives that are worth hearing. And I'm not sure this video will actually bring anything new. I don't think it will. But in this particular case, I don't mind. Because if there's even the tiniest chance that you play Undertale for the first time after watching this, even if it's just one person, I think it's worth it. Why? Because I believe Undertale isn't just a great game, memorable, heartfelt, and full of charm. It's also necessary, especially in a world that's slowly turning into the prologue of a post-apocalyptic story that's about to stop being fiction, where it seems like the only advice that matters is the kind that boosts your productivity or your biceps. Life is more than that, and I think it's important to be reminded once in a while. So yes, person watching this video is for you, because I truly believe this game can do you some good. It can, because it reminds you of that great potential for kindness that lives inside us, without hiding just how cruel we can be as well. But it's precisely in that choice where its message lies. It doesn't force you to be good, it gives you the option to be. It lets you stop grinding for levels and optimizing your gear to kill monsters like you do in every other game, and instead start listening to them, empathizing with their pain, knowing when to approach and when to give space, putting your ego aside, and learning the valuable difference between defeating someone and truly winning them over. Facing that choice, you might discover that human nature isn't as bent toward evil as some say, and that in itself gives a little hope. Undertale also talks to you about guilt, but with honesty. It teaches you to listen to it and relate to it in a healthy way. When you cause harm, the game reminds you, even when you want to erase it, because that's how life works too. It shows you that you need to take responsibility for your actions, and that guilt is a warning from your conscience, guiding you toward the path you truly want to follow. There is nothing wrong with feeling guilt, and being vulnerable to it in the right measure. What's harmful is avoiding it, or trying to act tough and pretend it doesn't exist, because by doing that, you deny yourself the chance to change. See those clusters of pixels arranged in what seems like a deliberate way? Those are the characters of Undertale, and even though they look simple, you might learn something about yourself from them. Each one represents a fear, a pain we all share. Fear of losing someone, indifference, being a nuisance, fragility, yourself, guilt, being alone, feeling, or trying and failing. But this game doesn't just show them to you and leave it at that. It gives you the chance to walk alongside them as they discover how to heal, or at least how to keep going even with the burden they carry. Inside those tiny pixels lie enormous souls. Complex characters that aren't pretentious or grandiose, but honest and real. So much so that you might even recognize them in the people around you, or even in yourself. I can't promise you will love them, but I can promise they will make you feel something. And that alone is beautiful. In Undertale, you might also find your new favorite song. And I mean that seriously, because the soundtrack is so good, it doesn't even make sense. Some of its tracks might even be more famous than the game itself. The best part? They'll get stuck in your head forever. And years later, when a random shuffle throws one of them, you will instantly feel right at home again. And if you feel like you are too old for a game like Undertale, let me tell you, that's actually a great sign that this game can do you a lot of good. It sets aside the cynicism of adult life, inviting you to be innocent again, to laugh at a fart or a silly joke, to be gullible and idealistic. And somehow, in a way I still can't explain, it works. You can also choose not to, and I insist, that freedom is part of what makes this game brilliant. But, I don't know, if you let it, this game can be that little break from adulthood you didn't know you needed. Maybe none of what I've said matters to you. Maybe you feel like you don't enjoy games as much as you used to. And trust me, I've been there. That's exactly why I recommend Undertale to you. This game might remind you why you played in the first place, because it chooses to treat you like a person, not a consumer. It doesn't ask you to replay it to see all the endings, complete an achievement list, collect every item, find secret levels, or do any of the other things game today used to make you feel like your time and money were worth it. In fact, it does the opposite. It might make you think about stopping, even knowing there are things you won't see. But that choice becomes part of your story with the game. Undertale can remind you that games aren't supposed to feel like a job or a product you are expected to consume. They are meant to be enjoyed and to connect with. So that's it, dear person. I recommend you to play Undertale because it will absolutely change your life and make you a better human. Just kidding, I can't promise that. But I can tell you it's a small game made with a lot of heart. One of those rare experiences you all think about from time to time, happy to remember it's part of your story. If there is even a chance you will feel that with Undertale, then this video is already worth it, at least for me. And if you ever play it, enjoy it and feel like sharing it, remember this. You don't recommend Undertale to seem cool, intellectual or different, or to recruit people into the fandom, or to make everyone like the same things you do. We recommend it because we believe this game still has something to say to the world, perhaps now more than ever. We do it because a little joy, offered at the right moment, can truly make a difference. Maybe the most genuine way to thank Undertale isn't by playing it again, but by asking yourself who you will give this game to, because it could be exactly what they need, even if they don't know it yet. If you are still here, thank you. I don't know if this video is that interesting to watch, but it was definitely interesting to make. I think sometimes it's better to be honest about what you think and feel, and I'm proud of myself for not putting Megalovania in this video even once. It really wasn't easy. Do you think there are more reasons to recommend Undertale to someone? What other games do you think are great gifts to share with others? I'll see you in the comments. Let me know what you think. In any case, I sincerely hope this video was worth your time, and truly thanks for stopping by. You can also subscribe or give it a like if you want, and if not, no worries. Maybe next time. Take care, don't stay out too late, drink some water and all of that. See you in the next video. Bye! Bye.